Guys, this is pretty damn epic. BYD and Uber, they are joining together, and BYD are planning to sell Uber or something like that 100,000 EVs. Those EVs are going to go all over the world. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. It's great to see you guys. I'll be at the EV show in Melbourne on the 9th and 10th of August. I'm sure you've heard this before, but if you're not already going, you've got to come. I'd love to see you there. And I'll be speaking at the show on the Saturday. There'll be a few sessions there that are worth attending, and it doesn't cost you anything. The show is extremely cheap, much cheaper than Everything Electric, which was in Sydney recently. But this actually has some EVs that you won't have seen. They're not the only place that you can see them at the moment is China. So the Zeekr X, then Xpeng EVs, some other EVs as well, new BYD Atto 3. Anyway, come along. The BYD deal here with Uber is quite interesting because it comes on the heels of BYD basically saying, we're going to also sell our cars in Canada. We're also targeting Europe. And this is one way for BYD to kind of say we're a global car company, because this deal to sell vehicles with Uber is for many different countries. Apparently, Central and South America, Brazil, Europe, Australia, and potentially Canada will be covered by some of these 100,000 electric vehicles. Even the Middle East and New Zealand as well. Now, Uber apparently are joining with BYD they want to make a robo-taxi, or they want to make autonomous vehicles. Now, obviously, Uber knows it needs to do this. It's been working on this for years. It was working with Volvo for a little while. That ended badly with that accident where the robo-taxi killed a pedestrian. There was a bit of argument about whose fault it was. Some people blamed the vehicle, some people blamed the pedestrian. Anyhow, that meant that Uber essentially put on hold their robotaxi production. Now they're saying, well, we're starting that up again, but with BYD. But BYD don't have a name they haven't invested in autonomous driving really at all until recently. Recently, BYD's CEO said that they're going to pour in massive amounts of money over the next few years into building one, basically building a competitor to Tesla's robotaxi. NIO laughed it off. The CEO of NIO said that it's boring and a waste of time. But we know the CEO of NIO is well known for making some pretty outrageous comments, I think anyway. Uber, they are very concerned that if Tesla, for example, was to build robotaxis en masse, that it would only take maybe a year before Uber would be out of business. And I think that's true. This sounds crazy, but it is. What's the big cost of an Uber? 80% of the cost, at least 80% of the cost, is just paying for the driver. If you don't have a driver, that cost is reduced by 80% for, say, Tesla or whoever else is involved, individual owners potentially owning these robotaxis, and Uber would be screwed. They know that. All the numbers add up, obviously. What are the benefits of this big partnership? Uber and BYD say the two companies working together will bring down the total cost of EV ownership for Uber drivers, accelerating the uptake of EVs on the Uber platform globally, and introducing millions of riders to greener rides. Now, in terms of decreasing the cost, the biggest thing you can do to decrease the cost of hiring a car or getting an Uber is not having a driver. That's unquestionably much bigger than what you can do by purchasing BYD EVs. Now, this is a good step in the right direction, but my point remains that if rivals have autonomous vehicles, whether that's Tesla or anyone else, then this partnership, it might not end the way we hope it would. Dara Khosrowshahi, I don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry, who's the CEO of Uber, said this: as the largest global agreement of its kind, we're thrilled about the benefits this partnership will deliver for drivers, riders, and cities. When an Uber driver makes the switch to an EV, they can deliver up to 4 times the emissions benefits compared to a regular motorist, simply because they are on the road more. Many riders also tell us their first experience with an EV is on an Uber trip, and we're excited to help demonstrate the benefits of EVs to more people around the world. And I think that's a really good point. This is good marketing for EVs, no doubt about that. More people getting in an EV, more EVs driving instead of internal combustion cars, big plus, absolutely big positive, totally agree. Uber have, like I said, made other moves like this though. In January, they announced they would work with Tesla to make EVs more accessible among their drivers. Basically, they're encouraging people to get a Tesla. They used a $2,000 incentive to help some rideshare drivers trade in their current vehicles for Tesla EVs. So some sort of Tesla quid pro quo, some sort of you do this, we do this type scenario with Tesla and Uber, which is good to see. I think that's a good thing. We know from listening to Uber drivers that the cost of ownership and access to convenient charging are the top two barriers preventing them from going electric, and we are working with Tesla to tackle both of these issues, said Andrew McDonald, Senior Vice President of Mobility and Business Operations at Uber. Now, Uber have done the same thing with Ford. This is a move in the right direction. EV fleet, in my opinion, fleets, car fleets, robo-taxis, Ubers, they're all going to be electric, whether that's fully autonomous driving or otherwise. They're all going to be electric. It's only going to take a few years. I know it's scary at the start. This whole Hertz nightmare has kind of given people a sour taste, but it will happen because it makes sense in almost every logical way you can think of. Aside from cost, there's just too many benefits. I mean, think about it. How often does a taxi sit and idle their engine? All freaking day. In Australia here, they sit literally half the day. They're sitting with their engines idling. With an EV, yeah, there's no idling. It's an enormous, that's just one thing. I can go on forever, guys. What are your thoughts about this partnership with Uber? BYD, Uber. I think this is really good for BYD, good for Uber, should be a win-win. But like I said, robo-taxis are coming and they will kill us all. I didn't say that, did I? No. This is not iRobot. I'm sure they won't kill us all. We'll all be fine. Thanks for watching.